Hey guys, so I've decided to start making some videos like this because my computer's power cord is on the fritz. I have a shorter one and a longer one, and where I normally film my videos, I need the longer one to work because my laptop is kind of old. It's a little bit of a hand-me-down, and the battery doesn't exactly last that long. That's what you get with old Macs. And so the longer power cord sometimes doesn't hook up correctly, even though it's that little magnet, and it's basically I got to replace it. So it's going to be a little bit easier until I can figure out an affordable replacement, because everything with Mac is expensive, to do more videos like this, especially at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So today I kind of figured, after doing a whole bunch of research, like, what haven't I covered yet, and I think that the Magickal Name deserves a video itself. So effectively, a Magickal Name is something that you would pick for yourself, and you can actually have several of them, and they can be used for like specific rites that you are doing, or a specific series of rites, or an overarching magical name that you would use in the way that you introduce yourself to the space and the spirits that you work with. And it's another way of changing your mind, changing your persona when you walk into ritual. You know how we have the different tools that we use, and even different stuff that we wear when we step into our temple, and switching your persona from your Upwork home TV bed person to the magical person that you are stepping into when you go to do rituals. Identifying with a different name can help your psyche switch over to that different mode. Like when I used, I go by my first name with like everyone, but when I used to teach, of course, they would call me by my last name, right? So there's a different like title there. So basically, it represents a new identity and the departure from one's everyday personality. Like I said, I got a whole bunch of notes here. And so sometimes you can receive a magical name in trance, or in meditation, or in my case, it kind of just comes out of nowhere. Like if you've ever sent me an email, that happens to be one of the names that I use, and the email for this channel anyway. And that actually came out of two typos that I would always make. Now, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you guys know that I have a disability with my right hand, and so it was two common words that I would always misspell. The first part was given that my hand was stupid with the keyboard, and the second part was because I couldn't, for the life of me, remember how to spell it for the longest time. So it just happened to be something really personal that I used. One of my friends that I've known since high school, the name that he uses, he actually picked it up off of a crossword that he was doing one time. He just happened to see a word there, and and he was like, that sounds kind of awesome, I'm going to use that. And I don't exactly like to reveal like his name because it's not my job, but the story behind it's pretty neat. So, let's see, going down some notes here. So the magical name can represent the magician's motto in life, like what their philosophy is. So, for example, like I'm getting a lot of this information lately because I go through my books and I research and stuff, from Frater UD, and his, the UD stands for Ubique Daemon, Ubique Deus, which means the demon is everywhere or in everything, the god is everywhere or in everything. And so that's something that resonated with him, so that's what he goes by. And then it also says here, sometimes fantasy names that are received in trance are used as well. In these cases, the actual meaning of the name may not be revealed until much later, or the original meaning may fade away with time and eventually be replaced by a new one. So you can come up with a name for yourself that might mean one thing at one time, but then due to the workings and things that you do with it, it ends up taking on a whole different meaning. And I think that's what goes for my friend's name that he pulled out of a crossword. So you can also, like, one of the biggest things is that there's no rules. Your name can be very short, it can be very long. The point is, it can be secret to you. I mean, you can share it, you know, like in the fact that it's in my email that's associated with this channel, but that's not exactly the only magical name that I have. So that's another point. You can have multiple magical names, and I suggest that you have one that you would use at times that is completely secret, so you don't ever tell anyone about it, because the old adage goes that if you if someone knows your name, then they have power over you. It is in a way a psychic link to know someone's name, albeit a arguably weak one, but that still applies here. Let's see. So the magical name can also symbolize the future or the goal that the magician is striving towards. So, there's a lot of different things that you can think of when it comes to what's your magical name going to be. Is it representing who you are now, who you are later, a specific work that you are doing, maybe someone or an archetype that you're trying to invoke or embody when you are going through a series of rituals? Like, you could take on a magical name, for example, to do the gate walking specifically, and then only address yourself and introduce yourself as that name during the gate walking process. Now, this could be who you want to become or who you are. That really is up to you. So it can be a way of self-acceptance and stuff, almost in the same way that when you get confirmed as a Christian, you take on a confirmation name. It's kind of the same thing. Kind of funny how, so many different things in Christian context and Catholic context are rituals, and yet they say that what we do is sorcery and whatnot. Well, it's all symbolism for one, and they also do the same thing. So, pot calling the kettle black here. So let's see. Choosing a magical name can be a great joyous moment of self-determination, but often it will become the first warning we receive. Basically, if it comes out of nowhere, that might be indicative, depending on what the name means, of some obstacle that we're going to have, or something that we may run into in the course of our magical workings. So anytime, if you were to get a name in meditation or something, really think about what it means, because it could indicate something that's going to happen later, or something about you maybe you haven't addressed yet, or something you should address and should focus on. I went over this point already. Yeah. And then basically there's a lot of ways to divine the magical name. Like I said, you could pull it out of a crossword. It could be something that occurs to you over and over and over again. It could be something that you get in a dream. It could be something that you pull out of not sure where I was going with that. I don't know. Kind of lost my train of thought. That's what happens this early with no caffeine. But the magical name can effectively come out of nowhere, come out of synchronicity or coincidence, or you can pick it yourself after a whole bunch of research, depending on the goals of your magical workings that you're going to undertake, or maybe an overall theme in your life. The point is that, if you pick a name, you're not exactly stuck with it, I'd suggest letting it grow on you, and you can always have a different magical name for a different set of rites that you are doing. So, it's not like a legal name that you're effectively stuck with, although I would suggest picking one overarching name that you can use all the time, that no one else knows, and really think about that one. What's your core desire, core belief, core drive, something like that. That is going to kind of set you up subconsciously towards a certain goal with all of your rituals, and then you can add other names on top of that, depending on what the specific rituals are that you are doing, or if you're going through a certain initiatory system or something. So I think this made sense. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you have a magical name and how you came across it, and any other experiences that you might have around this subject. So yeah, hope you guys like this format, and hopefully the audio comes out good. Good hunting. Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description. You can also find me on Facebook at Magickology YT. You can email me at priestofthenecro@gmail.com, and you can even check out my Instagram, which is Magickology. And good hunting.